In this next segment, we're going to deal with requirements and best practices or suggestions about the application process. Let's tend to requirements first. At least one member of the faculty needs to be maintaining an active CFLE status or designation. And at least one member on staff needs to be maintaining NCFR membership. This could well be the same person, but we'd have to say that we're hopeful of having numerous faculty members with both NCFR membership status as well as CFLE status. The reason for having a member of the faculty with CFLE designation would be that they are good role models for the students, and they should be, by virtue of their own maintaining of this designation, able to answer questions about the process of applying and maintaining that designation and the benefits that it has had for them personally. Another requirement is institutional accreditation held by a regional accrediting association or body. And we have some possibilities listed here, 6 of them, but increasingly, as we are having more programs from outside of the United States seeking to apply, we are assessing the comparability of other additional accrediting entities or bodies. What's entailed in a CFLE APR application? What should it contain? Well, the first item that's bulleted here would be a completed application form. And almost at the same time of doing that, then there is the payment of the fee. Once that is accomplished, sent to headquarters and processed, I as the liaison am informed of that, and then I begin to talk in detail with the program contact about the next steps to take. The directions and guidelines document will tell you of these various aspects that need to be included in an application. One is the program narrative, which includes an overall description of the program and a list of major and degree requirements. That kind of information might have been taken from the catalog or from a bulletin. A current course syllabus for each of the courses that will appear on the checklist, and I'm going to show you what a checklist is in a few moments. And all of this information is then submitted, as I mentioned before, in an electronic portfolio process. Also included in a complete application would be a draft curriculum checklist. In the directions and guidelines document, towards the latter pages of that document, there is something that is called Appendix E, curriculum checklist. And actually it is your first effort to draft what the final form of the checklist will be like. So it has the 10 content areas listed as well as the practicum internship experience. In the left-hand column and along the right-hand column, then the various courses, course title and course acronym and number are listed there. All of the courses that the program is proposing as the best ones to accomplish the expectations of those different content areas. You'll also note, though the print is rather small in this photograph on this slide, that we ask for dates of when the courses have last been taught, or most recently been taught, I suppose I should say, the way the syllabus that has been submitted demonstrates or evidences. It's perhaps more lengthy of an explanation to go into here for this webcast, but this is helpful information to us, and we hope that you don't neglect putting those dates in. This slide shows you what the formal checklist is to look like. It's a blank one, and in the directions and guidelines document, a blank one is provided for you. You can also contact me during the process of applying, and I can send you just that particular sheet in and of itself to you. All of the courses then that were listed on that Appendix E would be transferred to this particular form. Students or graduates of the program after 2 years post-graduation use this completed form when they apply. They send that to headquarters along with some other aspects or elements. I'd like to offer up some best practices. By no means the only practices, but over time and with experience, the following bulleted items, pieces of advice have been found to be helpful. On the checklist, when courses that are listed there are required rather than elective for the major or for the degree, it's helpful to the students. Certainly, elective courses may be deemed essential for accomplishing the expectations of a given content area, but when most or all of the courses are indeed required, it's more efficient for the students to accomplish what is needed for applying after they graduate for the CFLE designation. Another best practice is that courses are provided by the home department rather than a unit outside of the department. When this happens, it more likely ensures that courses are offered frequently enough that students can get them in a timely way, that the content is a good match for the content area expectations. The home department has control over these matters, and it may be hard if a course that's being listed on the checklist is sponsored by a different department to have influence over the seats available for students, the content, and other important features of the course. Another best practice is that a given content area just list 1 or 2 courses. I've seen exceptions to this and to the next bullet, which is that a given course appears in no more than 2 different content areas. There can be good reasons to depart from this, and those reasons should be discussed in the narrative and discussed with the liaison, in which case that would be me. When a given course is used in multiple places, it means that that course is having to accomplish a lot, and it may mean that some important key content area expectations are being neglected. And so this is just a word to the wise to try to follow those best practices if you can. Lastly, a solid plan for informing, mentoring, advising native and transfer students is a must. It will, when you have such a solid plan and implement it with care and consistency over time, it means that you will have more students who follow through after graduation to apply. What is it that the 3 reviewers from the APR committee and the liaison, in this case me, what we would be looking for in the syllabi that have been submitted for review? A course description in its short and concise form, some sense of how well it encapsulates the critical features or elements that we hope are going to be covered by the content area. We look for course objectives and student learning outcomes. I'm going to give that some more attention in a few minutes when we talk about Bloom's revised taxonomy. The topical content outline. We're hopeful that that is provided, especially if the course calendar or schedule doesn't identify the key concepts and topics to be studied throughout the semester. A fully cited list of required and supplemental readings. Full citation is helpful because we'd like to know copyright and publisher and a good title for each of those readings and resources. A detailed description of key learning activities and assignments. A detailed description of means of assessment or evaluation of student learning and performance. And then a course calendar or schedule. We hope that that does include topics and concepts for each week of the semester or each module throughout the semester or term, as it is. When on a calendar or a schedule, it simply says that on week 3, chapter 7 is going to be covered. That leads to difficulty on part of myself and the reviewers to really have a good handle on what the concepts and topics are going to be that are going to be covered during that week. It would mean we might have to go to access the table of contents of that textbook in order to come to some realization about those key topics and concepts that will be covered. So that's why a topical course calendar is helpful, and if that isn't the case, then to have a topical content outline elsewhere in the syllabus provided. We have this information to help us assess the duration, the intensity, the thoroughness of coverage that key topics and concepts are being given. I had mentioned that we would be looking at student learning outcomes or course objectives and their rigor. We hope that that is appropriate to the level of the course. On the Bloom's revised taxonomy that is diagrammed here, then we are looking for remembering and understanding and perhaps application. That would be the cognitive action verbs of outcomes for courses that are 100 level or 200 level. That would be for introductory students, freshmen, sophomores. And then we are looking for cognitive action verbs that illustrate student expectations to be trying analysis and evaluating and creating as a part of 300 level or 400 level courses, that being juniors and seniors taking a given course. And of course, we're hopeful that when we compare undergraduate courses to graduate courses, that graduate courses are going to have the rigor that would be expected of them, and that the course objectives and student learning outcomes would be heavier on the top of this Bloom's taxonomy pyramid. We'd be seeing lots of application analysis, evaluating, and creating going on in graduate level courses. So in summary, what is it that the 3 reviewers and myself are going to be seriously paying attention to as we review each of the syllabi? Well, the obvious one is that the content matches the content area expectations for this course as it fits into the checklist. We're also going to look for a common thread, integrative thread that runs from the objectives and outcomes to the assignments, to the learning activities, and to the means of assessment and evaluation. We want to have a sense that they're all interconnected, all speaking to one another, that they're meaningful and reflecting adequate rigor. We look at the readings and the resources that students are going to be utilizing throughout the course. We want them to be current and scholarly. Let's talk about their recency. We're hopeful that unless there is a justification that an older resource or reading is a classic, timeless piece that these resources and readings are 1 to 5 years in age, maybe expanded to 7 years of age. We're also hoping that the amount of time devoted to critical topics and issues is suitable, adequate, so that students have the proper exposure that would leave them best prepared to be a certified family life educator in their future profession. And then with regard to internships and practicums, we've mentioned this before, it needs to be emphasized again, that students are going to have plenty of time in which they are going to be involved in family life education programming tasks and duties. It is my goal that from the time a program submits its documents to the time a decision is made about whether it is approved or not approved, that will take place over ideally a 3-month period of time. There can be a variety of circumstances both on the NCFR end and on the end of the program that might mean that must be a longer period of time, something longer than the ideal 3 months. But once it is approved, what happens next? Well, we hope that the program faculty involved in it and the administrators celebrate, and that they let the public know and the rest of their campus colleagues know about the approval of the program. And then we hope all of this celebrating is followed by implementation of a good marketing and publicity plan so that students are acquainted with the possibility of participating in the APR program. And so then next, we hope that program faculty conduct regular and varied assessment of the program for purposes of improvement. Formal renewal of the approved status happens every 5 years, and so as faculty begin to gather together the materials for a renewal, we're hoping they're looking back at the feedback that had been given at the time of the previous renewal, and that they are able to say that yes, all throughout these 5 years we've been attending to that constructive criticism that was given. We've been seeking to measure the effectiveness of what we are doing and able to now speak to what we've accomplished. Updates can occur between renewals if need be. At renewal time, there is a fee associated with that, but should there be updates that happen between the renewals, that effort doesn't have a fee associated with it. Within 2 years of graduation, graduates can complete and submit the CFLE approved program application for provisional CFLE status. I want to make a note that at the time they're applying, they could substitute different courses for the ones that are on the checklist, but that is limited to no more than 2 occasions for substitutions. Not sure if you've got some questions that have developed as you were listening today. Of course, you can forward those questions to me, Debra Gentry, the liaison. On this particular slide, you can see my email address, and you can also see my phone number. That's a cell phone, but it has the capability of taking a message if I don't answer. And I will do my best, whether you contact me by email or by phone, to get in contact with you promptly, and we can discuss your questions or your concerns. It's been my pleasure to talk to you today, and I thank you for your interest in the Certified Family Life Educator academic program review endeavor, and I look forward to perhaps working with you in the future. Bye now.